Chapter 4. The Onions of Doom. On the other side of the hill, two shadowy figures were creeping along with shenanigans on their minds and entrails in their mouths. Of course it was Mr. Gum and Caterpillar Joe. Billy William III. Halfway up the hill they stopped and lay down like soldiers, but not the ones on your side, the other lot. Mr. Gum scanned the party through some evil binoculars.
"Shabba me whiskers," he grimaced. "People having fun. I can't stand it. Hang on. There's Taylor. Has he got that biscuit tin with him?"
asked Billy William, licking his dirty lips and burping at the same time, just to see if it was possible.
"Yeah,"
said Mr. Gum, chuckling so hard an entrail shot out of his nostril.
"And soon it'll be ours."
Back at the party, Polly and Friday were climbing up onto the big wheel.
"Have fun, you two," said Alan Taylor. "I'm off to get a hot dog."
"Bring me one," Friday called cheerily after him as the chair rose up into the night sky, "and make sure it's got millions of onions." What a view greeted Friday and Polly when they reached the top of the wheel. All of Lamonic Bibber was spread out before them like a mighty pancake sprinkled with houses. To the west the mountains challenged the heavens with their height, and to the east the sea challenged the heavens by being flat and wet and not really challenging the heavens after all.
"It's so beautiful,"
cried Polly as they sat there at the top of the world, the carriage creaking softly to and fro in the breeze. She gazed down and saw the party far below. The people looked like ants, and the ants looked like even smaller ants. And further down the hillside Polly could see tons of little kids jumping up and down on some sort of bouncy castle.
"I still wishes Jake was here, though," she thought,
shivering a little in the night air.
"Everything's more fun when that fat old wolf dog's around."
Meanwhile, Alan Taylor was yib-yabbing along after some dogs of a different kind. Hot dogs. As he went, the townsfolk bent down to pat his back and cheer him on his way.
"It's the best party in the last 100 years,"
exclaimed old Granny, the oldest woman in Lamonic Bibber.
"Alan Taylor, you are the champ."
"You're a treasure. It's a pleasure to enjoy such leisure," rhymed Beanie McLeany.
"I admire you, Alan Taylor, for you are a noble and generous fellow,"
said a 6-month-old baby, and her mother rejoiced, for these were the first words her infant daughter had ever spoken. The praise rang in Alan Taylor's ears, and the lights of the fair danced in his vision, and he felt as if he were in a magical dream where he would be always safe from harm.
"Everybody's my friend now," he said fiercely to himself. "No one will ever laugh at me again like they did at school."
At last he came to the hot dog stand which stood in the shadows at the very edge of the fairground. It was quieter here. The laughter and the music sounded far off in the distance, and a cold wind had struck up, whistling softly through the trees, as if to warn that shenanigans were afoot. But Alan Taylor suspected nothing.
"2 hot dogs, please," he said, "with millions of onions."
"Onions, you say?"
remarked the hot dog man, his face half hidden in the shadows. His words stretched out long and low, slippery as rattlesnakes.
"I'll give you onions, all right."
"OK, then,"
said Alan Taylor innocently.
"Hop up here, me little ginger," said the hot dog man, beckoning with a long, unwashed finger. "I likes to get a good look at me customers."
So Alan Taylor hopped up onto the hot dog stand, a tiny, shining beacon of trust in the cold, starry night.
"Now about those onions," he began.
"Come closer, me little ginger," murmured the hot dog man. "Closer to the onions."
Alan Taylor took a step towards the big pile of onions which crackled and sizzled on the grill.
"Another step, me little ginger," whispered the hot dog man. "That's right. Now 1 step more."
And then, in a flash, someone jumped out from behind a leaf and grabbed the biscuit tin from Alan Taylor's grasp.
"Shenanigans!"
squealed the biscuit billionaire, but it was too late. The hot dog man had scooped him up and stuffed him into a bun.
"There you go,"
shrieked the hot dog man, piling on handful after handful of onions and slapping the whole mess down on the counter.
"Have all the onions you want, no extra charge."
And with a terrible laugh, the 2 robbers turned and ran off down the hill as fast as their bad legs could run.
"We done it,"
howled Billy William, tearing off his disguise, "because I know this will surprise you, but he was the hot dog man all along."
And who's ever gonna know it was us what done the robbins?
chortled Mr. Gum, brandishing the biscuit tin as he ran.
No one, that's who.
But it wasn't no one, that's who. It was Friday and Polly, that's who. From up on the big wheel they had seen every horrible moment, and as soon as they were back down, they wasted no time in legging it over to the hot dog stand like the heroes they were. They made it just in time to see Jonathan Ripples reaching for a hot dog smothered in onions. He brought it to his flabulous lips. He opened his food-destroying mouth. He licked a bit of ketchup off the bun. "Power jump!" cried Polly, leaping headfirst at Jonathan Ripple's stomach, and down he went, the hot dog flying from his grasp and landing in Friday's hair. With a dizzy moan, Alan Taylor emerged from the bun smothered in sauce and onions, slithered down Friday's nose, and landed on the grass in a sloppy heap. Jonathan Ripples took one look at what he'd almost eaten and fainted away like a right wither.
"Where's my biscuit tin?"
spluttered Alan Taylor weakly.
"All my money was in there. Now I've got nothing."
And even as he said those words, one of his servants pulled a switch, and all the lights went out. The rides ground to a halt, the jugglers dropped their hoops, and the clown turned into a businessman in a grey suit who never smiled and told lies all the time. For Alan Taylor was no longer the biscuit billionaire. He was just the biscuit, and the fun was over.